Hello everyone, it's good to be back again. I remember there was a special episode we had and I told you there was going to be a sequel. She was coming back and now she's back with a big bang. Today again on set I have Pastor Mildred Kingsley-Okonkwo. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Pastor.
Thank you. I had so much fun. I had to come back.
Yes, you are such a huge blessing, and
thank you. Thank
our
you.
lives have not been made the same. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
But I remembered I said at that one sitting, we can't finish like gleaning all the blessing and all the virtue and all the,
Yes.
you know, and sometime recently, you were 40.
The big 4-0.
And your life has been tested. So yes, you shared with us your journey to motherhood, but the journey to 40. People look at you today, online, in church, ministry, champion, and they're like, wow. But you're not always there. There's been a journey from infancy to 40. And we want to share. So I'm sure there's been the low moments, there's been high moments. Because victory, because if you're sitting here today, I remember there was a post you did said 40 we made it. So can you introduce yourself to us and like give us a background where you how you put us in the background?
Okay, so I was actually born Mildred Isioma Chijide, got married to Kingsley-Okonkwo, and then of course hence the change of name. I'm the fifth of 6 children. So I have a baby sister. I still call her baby sister. She can't stop my life. I have a baby sister. I have 2 elder brothers and 2 elder sisters. I was born to a family. My mom is a retired teacher, head teacher actually. My dad, retired banker. Used to be a regional manager at Union Bank. Went to the best schools my parents could afford. So primary school, Corona, Apapa, secondary school, Command, Ipaja, university, first degree, OAU, second degree, Unilag. So those are the basic. I don't know about that, but
Answer. Is that yes or no?
I don't know about being a bookworm. I don't know about that. I'm not going to say anything. I'm pleading the fifth on that one.
No,
but if you ask my husband, I probably will say so, but I don't know. I don't think so.
When you finish first degree, go for second degree.
If your children are a replica of who you are, and everyone says that my daughter Davida is like me, if I'm going by that, maybe, because Davida is a bookworm.
So after the masters, can we start planning PhD?
No, that's not happening. That one is definitely not happening. So, oh no, definitely not.
So that's, you know,
yes. So that's my educational background. I got saved at a really young age. Well, maybe not too young, as a teenager. I got saved 20.
How did you get to know God?
Interestingly, recently I just lost that friend of mine. I was in my GS2. It was one evening. I wasn't feeling well, so I was lying down, and this friend of mine, she used to be Benro Shongodimi. She walked up to me and said, "Do you know that Jesus can make you better?" I was like, "Well, feeling, man, anything, chloroquine, Jesus, anything that works, man, I'm willing to take it." So she said, I said, "Oh, how?" She said, "You know, if I pray with you that you can feel better." I said, "Oh, really?" Because I was very sickly as a child. I was always ill. And so she said to me, "But you have to give your life to Christ first." So I said, "How? How do I do that?" And then she said to me, "Say after me." And she prayed with me and prayed with me for healing. And I was instantly healed. Instantly. And I knew there had to be something about this Jesus. Because I'd always had a hunger for him, but I didn't quite know how. And so she said to me, "Now the only thing that you need to do is you need to find someone else and tell the person about Jesus." So I left there and I found a friend of mine as well. Then, you know, and you know, I just told her, I said, come. Her name is Mildred Briggs, and I preached to her as well that same day. So I literally I gave my life to Christ and then started evangelism immediately, you know. But that was just the beginning. So I got saved early I'm born into a family of Catholics actually. So my parents were Catholic. My siblings.
But you were able to have that
Okay,
experience.
so yes, but you know that that was also one of the battles I had to fight. So that was one of the first things I
So
had
that
to
was the
fight.
next thing I was going to ask you, that when you go back home and you started the drama.
Oh yeah, so I told my mom. Funny enough, I didn't remember the story until my mom told me recently on my 40th birthday. She said that I told her that I had a calling from God, and she told me there's nobody calling you except me. So you do what I say in this house. So I had the battle of not being able to go to church, but I had friends. I had really great friends. Right now, I had quite a lot of them who used to smuggle tapes for me from church. So they would come after their service and give me tapes, and I grew on tapes, literally. I grew on Tunde Joda, I grew on Tony Rappo. So messages like that were the things that helped me grow my faith. And then they used to give me books. We used to exchange books. So we grew up reading Marilyn Hickey, Kenneth Hagin, Joyce Meyer. So books like that. Those were the things that helped me. But once I got into the university, it was like freedom. Freedom. So I got the chance to actually now start to attend fellowship the way I wanted to.
So one after growing in him, having being held back and not being able to be part of the local church or minister, and then you now had to release when you got to the university. How do you think that was going to end? Did you think you were going to end up in the full-time ministry?
I can't really say that I thought I was going to end up in full-time ministry, but I didn't know that I had some very supernatural encounters with God that made me know that God was going to use me. How, I didn't quite know. We had a negotiation that, Lord, I'll do anything if I don't pastor. But of course, those negotiations, you don't really win them with God. I actually thought I was going to be in advertising, but after my youth service, I somehow ended up in media. But I hated every moment of it. I used to read the 12 o'clock news on DBN television. I hated it.
Why?
I hated it. I hate to be in front of a camera for some funny reason.
When you now sit in front of the camera and speak in front of the
See, anything you do for Jesus is different. It gives you the joy that goes with it. It gives you the strength and the grace. But at the time, I didn't like it. I thought there was more to me than a face on TV. So I wanted to do more. I don't know. I just felt like there should be more.
So the journey continued. You moved from media.
I moved from media into customer service. I still was deluding myself that I was going to work. Then I went back to school to do a master's, and then I thought I was going to get a job with the UN. By that time, I got married. My husband too was of the opinion he didn't want me to be full time. He wanted me to work, because he wasn't on a salary. So we had to plan our lives and all that. But I had this encounter with God where He told me, "You will serve no other God. You will work for me." And me alone. And so as I was at the point where I was saying, how am I going to tell this man that is banking on the fact that I'm going to go and get a job? It was very interesting though. When my husband came one morning and said to me that he just feels like that he needed me more in ministry. There was no point them looking for someone to hire when everything that they needed I could bring to the table. So that's how I got involved in full-time ministry.
So before we talk about you settling into full-time ministry with your husband, now we're already moved to you getting married. I want to
bring you back.
Okay. Bring you back. So single, you come to Lagos, settle in, you're in church. You met Pastor Kingsley. He's already pastoring.
Okay, so that's not exactly how it happened.
Okay.
First of all, I always grew up. I've always, been in Lagos. Just school that took me out. But I was attending this present house. Pastor Tony Rappo was my pastor. Along the way, story for another day, but along the way, I met Pastor Kingsley, and then we got into a relationship and all that. But he was already pastoring. Marrying a pastor was definitely never on my book. So there were some certain things I had. Because I wasn't sure I was called out for the work. I've never seen it as a glamorous position. I've always seen it as a life of sacrifice. It means that you will share your husband with everyone. It means that you will be accommodating even when you don't feel like it. And I'm not a natural people person. I like my space. I like to be on my own. I'm very introverted, very. And I used to be very shy. So I had issues with stage fright. So it wasn't a life I wanted. wasn't the life I wanted at all. And I feel like pastors live in glass houses. So there's really little or nothing that you hide from people. Especially if you're married to a husband like mine, you can just come and use our story and share. As preaching, you just said, yes. So the other day, my wife, I'm sitting there like,
Seriously?
like nothing is secret, And he would tell you our lives are for the. And I just knew that it wasn't my life. I knew it wasn't what I was called out for. I didn't think I was graced for it. I didn't think I was pleasant. I felt like pastors' wives are a certain way. They should be warm, sweet. They shouldn't, yes. Sometimes they shouldn't even have an opinion. I feel like they shouldn't be shouting at people. I'm a shouter. You cross me, I shout. I don't have time for drama like that, I tell you as it is. I feel like they have to be very diplomatic and find a way to tell you nicely. Yes, and then he bless you. Yes, exactly. And I was going to do all those
God
things.
bless you. Cook for people. Go and check them in hospital.
See? So yes.
Give you that impression.
Okay, so I think that is it.
Audacity to ask.
Yes, please, because I think it is the picture that has been painted to us as pastors' wives. And one of the things I'm trying with so much to help young pastors' wives see, that as far as you are serving God, God called you because he knows you have some specific giftings and some specific abilities, and there's a personality that you have that he can use. Now, we can't all be that pastor's wife who is very warm and all that, but we must be loving. We must be lovers. I don't know about cooking for everyone and making your home open for everyone, because I think that what we do is we endanger our families, we endanger our husbands, we endanger our children. And these are things that I wish someone had sat me down to tell me earlier. The first thing I need people to understand most times is the fact that I'm a pastor and I'm a pastor's wife. A pastor's wife is not an office. I'm a wife to a pastor. So I'm very clear on my assignment. I'm sent to Pastor Kingsley-Okonkwo. It's my first assignment. Even if he doesn't have a church, even if we were to close down, even if everything was to close up and everyone to walk away, my assignment is to him because he's my husband. And I will do anything, literally anything. He knows I will literally lay down my life for him because I'm sent to him. So I need people to understand that and not feel like you belong to the entire church. Some people would not like you. You are not sent to some people, but you are called to love all of them. I believe you shouldn't have unnecessarily high expectations of human beings. I came in a bit naive, thinking because you love people, they will love you. Never happens that way. Never does.
So now you're single, working in church, meet Pastor Kingsley as your friend, start dating, you're about to get married.
Yes. So
Tell us, how did that play out?
okay, so I was still in my church. I wasn't attending, and we agreed I wasn't going to attend Davis Christian Center until after the wedding. Okay, but I was going to be a bit more visible, so I would come for programs and come a lot more as often as I could. So it was very shocking when I got there and everyone was cold, literally very cold. So I remember we had done our traditional marriage and I had been introduced. So after the traditional marriage, I was introduced that we're going to, get married and all of that. And I remember, because of course, there's no such office as pastor's girlfriend. So I would come to church and sit at the back like everyone else. So I came in that day, one particular Sunday, and I dropped my bag and back. And then after the first service, I went outside and came back inside for the second service. And I saw that somebody had flung my bag and she was sitting there. And I went to her and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bag was right here, And then she just said, please, I don't see anything. I don't come and disturb me." And she just like grumbling and and I wasn't as saved as I am right now. So everything in me, everything. Because one of the things that I used to struggle with growing up was anger. I used to be violent. I used to fight men like, "Don't try me. I will lift you up and I will slam you on the car." So I don't look it, but I am unusually strong. So
we should watch out.
Probably. So, everything in me, everything.
That's the place part of this God started teaching you the love.
I don't know if I learned that lesson that day, but everything in me was mad, livid, literally. But I just took my bag and I walked away. And I went outside and I was shaking. I was that angry. And, Pastor Peter came to me and asked me what was going on. And I told him everything. And so that was my first encounter one-on-one with the things that had been said underground, that had never really been said to me. So that's when I started hearing things like, so who does she think she is? She better than us? What about us that have been here and been working since? Where did they bring her from? Why should we submit to her? Why didn't he pick one of us? And blah, blah, blah. And also I was also shocked. I had to do a lot of praying. Prayed for strength, prayed for wisdom on how to handle things. And then because I'm not naturally outgoing, friendly, I had to pray for wisdom on how to break into people. Because I'm not the kind of person who has friends per se. And God is dealing with that. This season is sending me a lot of amazing relationships that I find that it's important that we have some kind of female friendships that hold you up and support you, But I've always been a lone ranger. So anything that causes me pain pushes me towards Jesus. So I started praying and really started praying about it. And because my first attitude was to recoil. So after service, I'll just go and sit in the car and wait for my husband, or I'll drive home, just drive home, drive away. And then after a while, my husband had to have a conversation with me that you can't do that. If you're going to, he that must have friends, must show himself friendly. So you have to move beyond that. And so at the season when I started praying, God said to me that I will separate the wheat from the tares. He said, listen, I will separate, not you, I. Lest you harm them while you are trying to separate, you now remove.
Yeah, and that's why God says, allow them grow together.
Yes, he said, just let things be. And after a while, they started finding their way. So some people started leaving. It was a hard season because we moved from having 3 services to having 1. It was that bad, So it was a really hard season.
Did you ever struggle with the fact that, God, you told me I'm the one for this man? Are you sure?
Yes, I struggled with it.
I am not a challenge for him.
Yeah. At some point, I felt like he was making too many sacrifices. I questioned it. I think it almost brought on some insecurity. So I questioned a bit, like, so what if he never has children, and then his church is going down, and then people who are supposed to be daughters. But God told me that it was only a matter of time that I would see increase, and I would see everything green up again. So it took a while. Not too long, but it took a while. So we now started having an inflow of families, of people who felt they were sent to us. They started coming in. And then at the time, I started now having people who didn't know me as not a member of the church. So they came in and met me on ground. I started taking on more responsibilities. Midway in was when I started the women's ministry, and then started having daughters sent to me. God started showing me people who were mine, And then at the time was when he started sharpening my discerning gift. I always say that the way people see faces, I see hearts. So I will know if you're for me or not, And it was something that God just gifted me with, because I think it's important. So even sometimes before someone makes a move, I know. I'm just quiet about it. I know what's coming. And sometimes I'll tell my husband, I'll be like, no, why would this person? Oh, no. And in like 2 or 3 months, the person will do something devastating that will make us know that.
And I love what you said, because as women, we're intuitive. But I believe as a strong woman that would stand for something significant and uphold your own, you have to be discerning. So yes, we're doing this in ministry. And people are even shooting, why are you there? Why are you? And now who? Tell us, what were the financial struggles?
Oh, those days. Now I think back, I laugh, but they were not so easy at the time. And they were not things that we were allowed to share. God told us it was a season and that we would come out of it. But it wasn't something we were allowed to share at the time. So there were times when there was no food in the house. There were times where there was no toothpaste in the house. There were times where there was no soap to have our bath in the house. And the interesting thing was that some of those times, my husband was on TV. Because there's a difference between church money and personal money. But you see, through it all, one of the things that really helped us survive is our friendship and our love for each other. So, and my husband finds laughter in everything. So I remember there was one particular day, I had found 15 naira or something, and I bought Gary 10 naira, so that was 2. I bought sugar, and then I bought cowbell milk or something, 1 milk, those sachet. Yes, it was on TV. And so I brought the thing and I put it down with cold water. At least we had cold water. So I said to him, and I said, what are we eating after rice and chicken? I said, yes. So I put it down and mixed this gari for him. He now said, what's this? Why is the gari looking like this? I said, it's milk. He said, this white thing is milk. And I said, no, this is not milk. This is the thought of milk. And what they are doing for you is that they are giving you a sense of, so we started calling that milk. See, tomorrow we call it the thought of milk. So he always just made it something we could laugh about, And then maybe we're eating, he would say, maybe he'll say things like, I remember when he used to go and buy bone, and now he doesn't have to go and buy bone. I'm the one that has to go and buy bone. Now, crack jokes about things like that. And then he would say things like that. Maybe when we have any period we have soap, I say, don't throw the soap away. Remember that last one? You now be gumming it together to make big soap. Say, not that, he always just had a way of making it lighter. And it's not like if I had called my mom, I wouldn't get money, but it was just not, it would have been dishonoring my husband. It would have been dishonorable both to my husband and to God, because it was a process that God was taking us through. It was a season of sacrifice. So I still remember, even then, because when I left my parents' house, we have this tradition where everything you need to set up, so deep freezer, microwave, gas cooker, everything is given to you, pots, plates, everything, But we couldn't even afford to buy the gas for the gas cooker. So we're using, the cylinder.
So it was the cooker.
So everything was there. So I had
and there was no food to put
in the
deep freezer.
Anyway.
Wow.
Come to think of it, yes. Okay, so I still remember there was one particular day, because we could buy kerosene here and there, and then in their house they were using stoves, So I remember he was one that really taught me how to use stove. So there was one day I don't know whether I didn't do the week
Pastor
well.
Teaching you how to how did he patiently teach you?
I don't know if it was patient. But he taught me, because in my house we always use gas, we've never used stove. So I remember that day, maybe I didn't do the week well, I don't know. I just put the fire and the thing exploded in my face. And I'm fair. So I had black soot on my face. So I sat on the floor, I started crying. I laughed. He was saying, which kind of somebody that bring this agenda, but I get now it's funny, but that day I was so frustrated. I just sat on the floor, I was crying. I was like, God, what is all this? What is all this? I love this, mom. What is all this? What is all this? And so we went through all these things, but we weren't allowed to share. My husband was still preaching on TV and shouting, we'll never beg, we'll never borrow, we'll never beg, we'll never borrow, we're blessed in every currency, we prosper in every currency. And today that's the reality.
Hallelujah.
That's the reality.
Wow. The word.
Yes, the word. The word. And like I said, my assignment is so clear. So the Holy Spirit gave me a lot of wisdom. So even in cooking, so sometimes I would have flour, I would have pepper, it doesn't just let me put it together, pray in tongues. I'll create something. I don't even know what. I'll just fry one thing. Yes. Oh, that's how you make food sweet. Where you have rice, oil, salt, and pepper, and nothing else, not even Maggi. Pray in tongues, it'll be sweet. I'm telling you, you'll be amazed at the
on stove.
You'll be amazed at the things that the Holy Spirit will do for you. Yes. Yes. The anointing will teach you all things. It will tell you, do like this, don't do like this, reduce this, don't. You'll be amazed. So he gave me wisdom. I remember one particular day, of course, I couldn't afford to make my hair. Making your hair is a luxury. It's a luxury. So I remember that day I had Pastor Peter, our former associate, saw me and was like, Pastor, this is how your hair is. I said, yes. No, Mama cannot do her hair. He now brought 1,500 from his personal money and gave it to me. He said, go and make your hair. And so I was on my way to the salon. I planned I was going to buy, then 3-in-1 was still raining. So I was going to buy 3-in-1. That's 2. That's 500. And then I was going to use 500. That's 1,000. So I was going to use 500 to fix. So that's 1,500. So when I went to the market to buy the hair, the Holy Spirit I was about to buy the weave on. The Holy Spirit just said, wait. He said, how much is this thing going to cost you? I said, 1,500. And I have 1,500. And I said, stop. I saw this wig beside one woman. And I said to me, he said, ask how much the wig. So I asked the woman, how much is the wig? She said, 1,300. And I said, will she take 1,200? She said, yes. So he now said to me, try the wigs. He said, do you know that if you use the 3-in-1, can you use it again? I said, no. He said, but this wig, you can use it again, Abby. And we can believe that in the next 2 months, you get money again to do another hair like this, Abby. So you buy 2 wigs. So you start alternating it like this way. So the season of wearing wigs didn't start for me as the way it is in vogue now. It started out of a necessity back then. Because those were the things that could cover whatever I was hiding under. And it's amazing that today, People literally gift me wigs that are worth hundreds of thousands, and I don't have to spend a dime on hair. It's amazing. And I feel like it's those seeds, those things that I sowed at the time. I'm saying, God, you are more important than my hair. You are more important than what we eat. Those are things that now are never an issue. And people are sending things to my house. I'm just so blown away by how God can take that season where you feel like, oh God, I will never get out of this, and take it to a season of surplus, of overflow. And that's what we're experiencing now.
I want you to encourage a woman out there that she has a dream, she has a bright future that she sees, because it can be tough. It can be when you're trying to juggle it together for your husband, your children, and you practically can't stretch the resources. You practically can't stretch the emotions. So here you are, you're stretched in emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, but you were able to pull through, and you're seated there today. You can celebrate your life.
I think that we need to ask ourselves why we do what we do. Why are you here? Why are you married to this man? Why are you in ministry? Why are you, mothering these children? Why? If you can always remember the why, it will be easy. Once you can remember the why, it will be easy for you to just stick to whatever it is that you're going through. Sometimes the pain, can confuse us. The pain can take away, the strength to go through this and to do this. But like I said, my assignment was very clear. I knew what I was sent to do. I knew who I was sent to. I had to get to that point. I had to get to the point where prayer became a lifestyle. Constantly hearing God say, God, what should I do? What should I do? This is hard. How do I get through this? And it's times like that you feel the presence of God more than anything. God showed me pictures of where he was going, who he was going to be. And he hasn't scratched the surface. Even now, he hasn't scratched the surface.
So believing these things, seeing these dreams, dealing with these challenges, deciding, to forge ahead. One way that you and your husband have been an immense blessing is marriage, relationships. How has it been building your own marriage, and at the end of the day, God now using you to minister to other people?
My husband is not perfect, but he's my husband. That's the truth. A lot of women expect their husbands to be perfect. He's not. He's a regular guy. Makes mistakes. He can be annoying sometimes. He can be focused on work. I've always known the fact that my husband loves God more than anything else, including me. Yeah. So
good for all of us when they do.
So I kind of have just adjusted to that. So even when I feel like he's being unromantic or not emotionally available, I've come, because he's my friend, we can talk about it. We talk about everything. So I tell him this, this is how I feel, blah, 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 and we find a way around it, marriage is hard work. A lot of people think that marriage is easy. Even for us, it's not. Marriage is, I see my marriage as a ministry. So a lot of things I do out of obedience to God. I'm not naturally a submissive person, contrary to what people think. A lot of people tell me that, Pastor, it's easy. I'm not naturally a submissive person. I am not naturally the kind of person that will immediately agree to something. But then I learned that I'm married to a man who is two-dimensional. So he's my husband, but he's also my pastor. So even if I'm angry with my husband, I must honor my pastor. So I remember that day he had annoyed me, and I went into the room to pray, and I was like, God, you have to fight for me. I don't think I can count the number of times I think I've heard God's voice audibly. And then I heard, how dare you? How dare you? By the time I was about to hear the third time, I ran out of the room like somebody that they chased. And the voice followed me. He said, because I gave you my son. Have you no fear or reverence for a man that I sent? He said, touch not my anointed. From that day, even if my husband is doing nonsense, he knows I will never raise my voice. Never. Because my first responsibility is to Christ. He's the one that sent me. So because I've now given you this man, his see finish wants to enter now. You are now Vashti. You are now ruling your own kingdoms. The king is sending for you. You are misbehaving. So I don't really get it as easy as the other women, where people say things like, oh, that's why this is... Move on.
But your submission to God and his will and his assignment has helped a great deal in your marriage. And
like I said, I find that the first thing is I'm submitted to God first. I'm very clear on the fact that God sent me to this man to make sure that he fulfills his destiny, that he's saved from everything he needs saving from, that I'm an encompasser and I surround him with my prayers, with my presence, with my love. I'm very, very clear on that. So most times I do things out of the fact that God said it. If God said be submissive, and I submit, not because his idea is the best, not because he's making the best decisions. If I don't agree, I take it back to the person that sent me. And I can be very, like I said, I can be very detached about some things. I ask myself, to what end? If I'm sulking, what's it going to bring? I'm also very low maintenance. Like I don't believe in having high expectations of people. That's what makes people disappoint you. Like I said, my husband is human. He's not perfect, but he's my husband. And so my responsibility to him is to love him. And that really triggers him to do by all standards. By all standards. He's, I dare say, one of the best husbands I've ever seen in my life. He is the best for me and the best. But my husband is very attentive to my needs. He's my friend. He listens. He's there. When somebody's there for you, he looks out for me. So
we can say you are blessed.
We are all blessed. Depends on how you turn your marriage. Yes, a lot of people are busy looking at other people's marriages and not doing the work. I think if you do the work, your husband will turn out amazing and your marriage will be perfect. So I think that if you even do your bit, that God will reward you. Start speaking to him, especially if it's a man that fears God. God will start speaking to you that this thing you're doing isn't good.
Yeah.
Or you hug your wife. Or you tell her sorry. Or you buy this for her. Because coming from you is nagging. Coming from God is revelation.
Amen.
So he just feels like, oh, head God.
Amen.
Meanwhile, it's between you and God. You know what you've been telling God. So.
When people, whether they charge at you, whether by saying something behind you or whatever, mistreat you, throw your love back in your face, throw your sacrifice back in your face, what goes through? And Pastor M, I want you to be free.
Okay, so I think this is one of the hardest parts of ministry. It's the constant dealing with betrayal. I think more than anything, I think for me it's been the hardest part of ministry. Preaching is easy, teaching is easy. It is loving that's hard. Loving when you know that you're not loved. Okay, so I think that one of the hardest things for us, especially as pastors' wives, is the fact that we're constantly under attack. We're constantly under siege. So, in two ways, attack on our husbands. I think that's hard. Where you see your husband giving everything, even at the risk of your own family, and he's misjudged and attacked. And I think that some people will never get this because they don't really get what it means to share your husband with people that don't appreciate him. So I see a lot of sacrifices that we make. And the truth is that sometimes if you're not careful, you can lose your home, your mind, your peace for people. I'm really not sure how to answer this question, but I think that what makes betrayal hard is who it comes from. When people were doing the things they used to do when I first joined church, it was painful, but it wasn't so bad because I didn't know them, they didn't know me. But over time, we've had seasons, especially in our own ministry and our lives, where people we've invested in, people we've loved, have turned back and, stabbed us. I remember a season, 2011, We came to church one morning and all the ministers in our church had left. So the front was literally empty. All. Okay. A couple left behind. We had we had a couple of people left behind. And majority of them had gone. And there was no reason why. And I remember that for the next couple of weeks, every time my husband would preach, he would break down in service and cry. And you must understand, my husband is a hard man. So he's not a tears don't move God, tears don't move me kind of person. So it was very hard to see him consistently break down, especially when he would get to the words, my father's house. Every time he tried to read those words, he wouldn't get past them. And I remember having to climb up stage and bring him down and, hold him through that pain. And I think it was a season where he struggled a lot, with a lot of things, wanting to leave it all, because, people were doing things, saying things. It was just a horrible season.
I remember then you say weeks we've not eaten. Then when the seeds started coming, I said, this kind of thing, you don't
eat it, you sow it. And I felt like it was God beginning to rescue us. And every time my husband kept putting it all back, kept putting it all back. Like I said, I think what makes it harder is who they are, who they are. And I think turning 40 made me a bit more invested in myself. I started to look internally. So some things happen, and you start to question, am I safe? I think that's the hardest thing about betrayal. When you start to feel, if these people who are very close to me do this to me, so am I now safe? Who can I trust? Those things are the things that make it so hard. And people don't know. Sometimes it's not in anything they've done. Sometimes what they say. Someone who you feel is your person says things about you that are untrue or that are mean, and they come like Judas every Sunday and they hug you and they kiss you and they call you my mama, and those things are the things
because
that
the reason why I asked you is because I see the pain. I can even see that they're trying to, because I believe what the devil is using them to fight at is your faith, your calling, most importantly, your heart. Pastor M, can you tell us, in this journey, how have you been able to stay consecrated? I know you won't have been perfect. I know you'd have had your outburst moments, but how do you wake up each morning, put on the makeup, the hair, the smile when you need to, the frown if you need to carry it, attend to issues, till the issues? How is it that today we can celebrate Pastor M was 40 and she's still ready to do greater things for God? You might say, I know you take it lightly. You don't take it lightly, but at times I feel you do. I believe you're a living, talking, breathing, sitting miracle.
Yes, I am. I am, absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the things I've been through, I don't think I should still be here. I don't think I should still have my mind intact, but I do. One of the hardest journeys for me, and one of the reasons why I celebrated 40, was the fact that Satan threw everything at me to make sure I didn't hit 40. I honestly felt like 40 was going to be a threshold. So it was either I didn't make it, or I made it and came on to greater things on the other side. And I didn't know how important that was until just a few months to my 40th. And then my pastor, yes, I talk a lot about my pastor because really my father, he's just been an amazing source of strength for me. Reverend Femi called me and said to me, well, you're going to celebrate your 40th birthday, right? I said, oh, Papa, I don't do birthdays. And I really don't. I'm not a birthday person. Yes, I celebrate people in my life, my kids, my husband, but I don't fuss about my birthdays at all. Everyone knows that. And so he said to me, this one is different, or you must celebrate this one. And I smiled. I didn't think much of it. He had a conversation with me, and he said he didn't want to tell me, but that 7 years ago, 2011, that God had told him to start praying. because Satan was going to make sure that he was going to throw everything to make sure that I wouldn't hit 40. So he said he would fight your health, he would fight everything that you have, your mind and all that. And just weeks before that, I'd been in the UK and I was on a train, and all of a sudden I felt I was losing my mind. I felt like everything was closing in on me. These were battles I was having I couldn't share with anyone. I just felt like I'm losing it. Take your wig off, take your shoes off, take your jacket off on the train. And I just felt like I just suddenly became claustrophobic. Suddenly started having panic attacks. All of a sudden, out of nothing. I couldn't be in an elevator, nothing. It just out of the blues, from nowhere. I've never been claustrophobic in my life. Never had any of those things. Just out of nowhere. And so I said to him, oh, this has started happening. And he said, oh, I've been praying for 7 years that you would cross. And that's why I say it's a big deal. You must celebrate your birthday. And I still remember that at the same time, I started having visions of things, and God would show me things that were to happen. And sometimes show me things that had happened. And it was just interesting, the kind of things that were happening around me. And I noticed that once I hit 40, two things started happening. I started experiencing more of the supernatural. So I started prophesying more, started seeing visions a bit more, started seeing things that had stopped in my 30s, that started coming back. And then I'd gotten a sense of confidence. I'm too old to be afraid of anybody. And yet I'm too young to give up. That's what 40 did for me. So 40 was a beginning where I felt, now I can say what I want to say and not be afraid.
So when we say life begins at 40, God has given you ease of life.
But it gave me a lot more confidence. And I think those two things needed to go together.
So when you look back, how could you?
The one thing I've learned is that I am loved by God. God loves me. You have no idea. God loves me. He holds me. He speaks to me. He's held me through some of the craziest things. He's fought battles for me I had no idea about. I am loved by God, and for that I'm grateful. Not even for the gifts, not for the callings, not for the miracles, not for the testimonies, not for the things people think that I'm doing or things I've done, but for the fact that God loves me. I am special. I know people say this a lot, but I know it like I know my name, like I'm special. The day God opened my eyes to see some of the battles He's been fighting for me, to see the angels that have been released on my path, it blows my mind how we can think we're ordinary if we only knew how loved we were. I am loved, totally adored by God. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned in these 40 years.
I know you are loved by God, but you are loved by a lot of us. And I must admit you're one of the people that inspired this series. And I remember I told you.
Yes, you did.
Yes. But I know the people that have given up or given in or caved in through the pressure. So yes, we don't take for granted the grace of God. But I don't take for granted a woman that stands strong and say, God, bring it on. Devil, bring it on. I stand on the side of God. And today I join women all over the world to celebrate you. And I said I was going to do this. Whether you liked it or not, we will celebrate you. And if God helped you win that battle, you're winning 50, 60, 70, 80, I picture 90, 100, 110, 120, 200.
My mom says it's 120 and 2 weeks because I was in a coma for 7 days when I was in, I think, just 3. I just said God has to add back that 2 weeks I spent in the hospital, so it's 120 and 2 weeks.
Wow.
But I'm not sure about that. Let the Lord come. There's nothing we're doing here.
We celebrate you. And God has brought you this far. We'll keep upholding you. We'll keep strengthening you. We'll cause His face to shine on you. Would allow you glow greater and greater for us. We appreciate you greatly. And I pray that God put you to strengthen you. And for everybody out there, like Pastor N said, she's loved of God. She's come today to share our struggles and victories and everything with us, as celebrate her as an icon, I like to say. And what I want to leave with you today is you are loved of God. Yes. No matter what you have to deal with, you are loved of God. And if God loves you, He's taking His time to settle you on every side. So no matter the phase you're in, no matter the season you're in, whatever picture that God is giving you of the future, God is reassuring you today, I will take you there. In fact, I will blow your mind beyond what you can ever ask, think, or imagine. So I want to encourage you. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't give in. Stay strong. Whatever the challenge is, God is able to do exceedingly abundantly far above all you can ever ask, think, or imagine. And I look forward to sharing your testimony as we're celebrating Pastor M today. That's how you are going to celebrate landmarks in the name of Jesus. You go from glory to glory, go from strength to strength, and the lines will keep falling for you in pleasant places. I love you and I believe in you. Keep standing strong as a woman.